start recording. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Tuesday, the 19th of August. Um, the order book, which is still loading, uh, is probably pretty thin still. If this does load, it's taking a while. Excuse me, sir. Anyway, the volume node's still at a very similar place. We got 118.5, sort of this little high that we just did before the down move. So in between like 117.8 and 118.5 could be an area where we could bearishly retest from. I believe the I believe the weekly open is about 117.9 or 118, so something like that. So if we do see a bounce from here, which is very possible as we are holding the low and we're getting some lower time frame bull divs and stuff, um, you're expecting that area to potentially be an area for rejection. I'm not sure if the heat map is loading, but yeah, not really too much to say on that. In terms of liquidity, we do have some stuff to the upside, about 119.5. To the downside, very locally, we got 113.4 as well. So we have built a little bit of stuff up in the last couple of days from this down move. If we just look at the weekly, yeah, again, 119.5 is definitely an interesting area of short liquidations, but there isn't a whole lot as we do have still majority more longs in the market. So in general, we're still in a little micro downtrend. We potentially could see a little short-term bounce, but I'm not really that keen on it until we can gain something of importance back to start changing the trend. But yeah, we have taken a lot of this long liquidity now to the downside as well. So that's actually looking quite interesting. Again, long to short ratio, we've still got more longs on the market. We're about 60% long, which is definitely warning signs to potentially continue down. Um, After taking all that long liquidity, if this was back down towards 50%, maybe slightly more long, I would be a bit more confident. But as of right now, you know, we're hovering around 57 to 62% long, which is not good for more potential upside. But yeah, again, I'm not sure if this data is correct about the top traders. Let's actually just go to the dashboard quickly and see what it is on. So this still says top traders are 66% long. Retail also long as well. So again, more longs in the market. 4 hour, even more longs in the market on the previous 4 hour as well, 6% long. So lots of longs. In a downtrend, I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon, to be honest. And that's that for the data. Not really too much change since yesterday. Where is everyone today? I don't think they got the memo that I changed the time, but anyway. So let's start off with yeah, so let's just talk about Bitcoin. We've obviously got the weekly open at 117.5. It's a little bit lower than the volume node. The volume nodes are about 118 to 118.5, so where this resistance is. Um, and yeah, if we can sort of like do something like this and then close a high above there, then potentially you're looking at the weekly open being uh, support for a move up all the way back up to the highs. Until we get that, I'm more bearish on the market as of right now. So I think there is definitely a short to be played in between the weekly open and this high, just because the risk is quite nice. So basically, weekly open to above this high, it's about a 1% stop. So I definitely think that is sort of the way I'm leaning towards until we hit some of these lows back at 113k, and then we can talk about, you know, seeing what happens once that happens. We're obviously still in a micro downtrend since we did these closes and we barely retested the previous weekly open around here. But again, the longer term structure is that we still do have a potential bullish do, but if you know, we're actually kind of in it at the moment. So we are getting some bullish divergences on the lower time frame. I think it's the 1 hour. Whoops. And we are in the 4 hour combination band as well. So potentially we could see a little bit of a bounce here up to the weekly open. Uh, but it really needs to bounce here, as we have already tested very weakly the bottom of that swing. So yeah, I'm not really making too many moves at the moment, as we've had some really good weeks recently in the market, and I don't really want to give too much of my profits back. I'm definitely down to take a short in this area if the opportunity presents itself on Bitcoin, just due to the amount of longs that are in the market. But yeah, it's not. There's nothing crazy to say. I mean, we still do have a higher high on the daily, and this low is still intact as of right now. If we can hold this, like with all the pretty much all the altcoins, if we can hold this structure from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday at the start of August, again, I don't see why we can't at least go up and test the highs, and then we can talk about maybe doing a lower high and what's going to happen then. And maybe we do a higher low, and maybe we just pen it out. Who knows? But again, it's a little bit too early to tell, and the micro downtrend is down, but the daily is still up. So yeah, nothing really too much to say. Again, since yesterday, I'm still, I'm still on the same wave. Again, I would just reiterate that the weekly time frame does look bearish as of right now. I mean, we have this bearish engulfing. We have this massive wick up into the combination band, which didn't close above, sort of like here. And yeah, the weekly combination band looks like that. 2 wicks into the band, we're getting the overbought dot print on the weekly time frame as well. We've got the W reversal. I mean, everything looks like it wants to roll over a little bit on the weekly. Every time we've seen 2 wicks into the weekly combination band and an overbought dot print on the oscillator, we've seen about a 20% drop in the market. So again, it doesn't have to happen, but that would probably be us coming back all the way to the lows of 100k, maybe just even 104. But yeah, it it could definitely happen. Again, no changes to be honest. Bitcoin DOM starting to see a little, actually, really no changes on this again at all since yesterday. ETH Bitcoin, sneaky close below the level, actually retesting the high that we did on the weekend a week ago. Again, this could come all the way back down to like 325, and it would still be quite bullish. Something like that would not be out of the question. And again, that's where I'm kind of looking at potentially the market to be going on a lot of these alts. ETH again though is actually holding quite well. 4.2k is this little swing that we haven't tested yet, and we could definitely see a bounce from this area where we are right now. If we cannot gain this high at about let's call it 4.55 or the weekly open, I definitely think we're going to do another leg down into 4k to 3.9, where I'm potentially going to hit the market quite heavily down there. But again, the daily's still intact. We're just looking potentially at some trend change on the 4 hour very recently. If we get a nice bounce from here and we start like gaining the weekly open and doing stuff like that, then yeah, we might go a lot higher in the market. But as of right now, we're just overdue a pullback. We've got the daily bearish divergence on the retail stablecoin demand as well. We pair that with the oscillator. Let's actually just have a look at the Harmony as well. Harmony's looking like it changed all the way back up at the top where we got all these divergences coming. It just looks like we could just be rolling over a little bit again. Not really too much change since yesterday. Basically, I'm going to be repeating myself since yesterday's stream. To be honest, again, we could see a little bit of bounce. ETH's actually bull diving on the 4 hour, which is quite nice. So yeah, again, a bounce up to the weekly open, and the previous swing that we did on Sunday is not out of the question. And I might even hedge short there. So yeah, that's the general roundup. In terms of some alts, some of them are actually at really nice support, and I'm quite tempted to maybe take a bounce trade if the risk looks right. But again, it just looks a little bit wishy-washy. This chart's got way too many lines on, but we are coming back down into heavy support on Popcat. I've longed this level how many times? It's probably been 1, 2, 3 times, and they've all worked out very well for me. So potentially we could be looking at another opportunity here, but yeah, I don't know. It's a little bit like I want to gain that and then test here first to actually see a little bit of strength in the market. Morning, gents. Who's back on the East Coast? Yeah, he is back. It's nice. I'm going to be back in London as well on Thursday, so for Friday's stream as well, which is going to be fun. It's going to be fun to be back in London, especially after I literally haven't been home since the 100k party. I've just been doing a will. It's gone and never come back. But let's look at some other stuff like Soul. Let's look at Link. Let's look at we'll look at like Aave and Injective and stuff, and just take all of this stuff off. So Sol's come back all the way down to these lows from, back in the end of July, that whole week that we did here, and even some of August, we had a bit of price action down here. Again, we're still in a little bit of a micro downtrend ever since we did kind of this low and then this high. I mean, to be honest, it was this low right here that we broke some structure. And again, if we do come up to the yearly open, the weekly open, you're potentially looking this to fail and short this to go lower in the recent price action. For me, again, I'll just reiterate what I said on Monday. I'm waiting for all of these pockets to get hit before I re-long alts in the market. And I think there is some very, very, very decent shorts coming up, potentially, just because, you got, I mean, that's actually quite heavy from the yearly open all the way up to the high that we did. But we basically don't, if we can gain back, that it's going to change the trend until we kind of do yearly open and weekly open regains on Sol. I think this is just looking to potentially go lower. And that's kind of my gist for the rest of the altcoins as well. That if we come back down here, I'm just expecting us to go and hit the 786 from the lows that we did at the start of August to the recent high that we did that we've just come down off. Again, I'm still bullish on the altcoins and the altcoin market in the medium term, especially when we get back down into this stuff from the beginning of August, if we can hold some of that structure. But until then, until we hit that, I'm very quite firmly bearish on the market until then, or we do some like gains of here, and get that sort of like that. Then yeah, okay, cool. We can talk about the highs again, but until then, I just don't see it. And there's just so many longs on Bitcoin as well that, You know, it just feels like we're gonna have a little bit of a rollover. I mean, we were talking about this at the end of last week, in Thursday and Friday, that the warning shots were there, and the warning shots were definitely there. To be honest, same thing kind of with injective. Injective, I still am actually long on, so I might even try and get out of this trade if we bounce back up. Because I'm long from 12.1. So I remember saying this in my stream. It was probably somewhere, I don't know, somewhere in here, that I was gonna long this low, and it did prove a very, very nice bounce in the end, from about 12.1 to, you know, 16.5. It's a 35% move. It's nothing really to scoff at. And you know, since we did that high, we got a lower low and a lower high in resistance as well. So again, if unless this can gain something like that back, I don't think it's going to go even up and test the weekly open. I think it's just going to fail somewhere in here and go lower into March and August. And the general gist of this is that, you know, just get the daily out and just, I'm waiting for this to basically hit. Whoops. Let me go on the 12 hour. Hey, where's my stoop gone? What? Okay, let me draw that again. Yeah, again, the general gist is that I'm waiting for like this area to hit before I relong. And I should probably get out of my trade from 12.1. I mean, I did take a lot of profit here, here and here, so I'm 50 to 60% out of the original position and already. But yeah, it just looks like we're gonna have a nice retrace, and then we really want to hold sort of this low here, because if we don't, it starts to look really, really bad. But until then, I'm still bullish in the midterm and for the end of the year. Does anyone disagree with me? Does anyone think that the dump is nearly over and that, you know, we're going to do something like this? I mean, obviously, you can't really say that until we do it, but I'm pretty confident that if we come back down to these lows from the beginning of August, there's going to be a lot of buy pressure in the market, because I feel like this move caught a lot of people off guard, and we still do have the new high on a lot of other alts. So I'm generally quite confident if we get down to that area that I'm going to bid it again. I just don't want to bid until we get back down there. We could even hold quite bullishly around March and August, just around like here, which we are kind of nearly there anyway. Something like a wick and then a close above here, and then we could see like, you know, anyway. Yo, anything is possible, but still look for lower. I completely agree with you, Plumbus, and we are overdue. We're just definitely overdue some building of liquidity to both sides. I mean, we had some really nice moves at two parts in July. You know, the start of July, then we had like a week and a half of a bit of a pullback. Then we had the second round towards the end of July, and even towards at the start of August, we had another big, really nice move up. And then at the end of last week, we were saying, look, there's some big warning signs on the chart. But if I just look at Bitcoin, I mean, I'll just show you this chart again. I need to just show you this every week now. And we'll actually put the weekly there. And we'll even just take that off, okay? This is not bullish. This is very, very bearish. Now, it doesn't mean that we're going to break structure and it's over, because the last time we did this, we just came and retested the prior high here. The last time we also did this here, again, we came down and we nearly retested the prior high. We actually kind of just did something like that. So I'm not saying it's the top, but every time you get this and this, again, 15 to 20% dump in the market, maybe even 30% from tip to tip. And so that's just where I sit on that. Again, also, we're looking at ETH Bitcoin and we're saying we've basically come up and hit resistance really nicely. I'm going to take this off for now, even though this is quite an important 4 hour swing there that we actually, I'll just leave it on. You know, we've done a really nice move on ETH Bitcoin. We're in the overbought area as well. Bitcoin looks like it wants to roll over. We could just see Bitcoin Dom have a nice retrace back towards, even up here. That's kind of what it's looking like. And if we can hold, if we can hold this swing, it's still looking good for more up in general for the rest of the year. But yeah, I'm firmly quite like, okay, it might be time, especially with the amount of longs in the market as well. Gonna keep some positions open and lose, I guess, if we never come back this year cycle. Aiming for buying lower. Lots of stabs up at the high. It's been wiping out. Really gives scalpers or active traders good moves, but not much for holders if they just see profits and then they're gone. Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you're just holding, like you said, your profits can be wiped out quite easily. Wait, let's look at, like, for example, Sol. This still potentially looks good, as we're just kind of retesting the highs of this swing there on the weekly. We've got a new high, we've got a defined low. As long as we can hold this structure, I'm still thinking that towards the end of the year we're going to get high in the market, but I just think we're overdue a little bit of a rollover. Again, if this holds potentially in here, this swing and this low, we could be looking at potentially a bounce, but yeah. What's hype doing? Because I'm still in my hype positions as well. Ooh, getting some nice lag there. Again, it's just like we've just come up and hit resistance at the all-time high. It's nothing really too crazy. We just need to put in a higher low and then maybe farm out some structure. I think we're going to go sideways for a bit, and by sideways I mean do something like this, and then maybe we'll get a breakout. I'm in that camp. We bounced off a strong area on Bitcoin this morning. Yeah, I definitely think we could see a little bit of a bounce on Bitcoin, but again, you're just looking at the weekly open to potentially the recent little high we made on the the recent little swing that we made on the 4 hour to potentially be an area where you can short down lower all the way to the lows. And everyone is longing this down move. Everyone is longing this. So, yes, maybe a short in between here and here would be a good play to definitely hedge off. Again, as of right now, ETH's potentially holding this swing. But if we don't make a new high from here, I think we're just going to go back down and retest 4K, which still would be pretty bullish in my opinion. What's happening with some other big caps? Because we didn't really look at a lot of altcoins yesterday. We kind of just did some weekly stuff. Again, very defined breakdowns here. With a wick all the way up to the highs. And then a lower low from here. If this does come back now in between here and doesn't gain that back, you're just looking to take this all the way back down into the lows where, again, that's where I'm looking to bid stuff for a potential continuation, because I don't think the daily structure is obviously still up and intact, but I just think we're gonna have a little bit of a pullback, and it's nothing crazy. Again, all the altcoins look like they're just gonna pennant out for a little bit. We're gonna have a pullback quite initially, see a bounce, but we're not really gonna make new highs until we do this for a bit and play that out. And maybe we're just gonna hold it until September rate cuts in general. I haven't really been keeping up with that sort of stuff, but we've had some really good moves all the way up to this swing. And even if we came back down and tested the yearly open, which is untested, by the way, as of right now, I think it would still be quite bullish. For example, on Link, where we have a lot of structure from back in here, we have got this high from back at the end of July. It wouldn't be crazy to just come back and do something like that, and then, all the way up to the highs. But that's why I generally sit on most of the market. There will be 4-hour bounce trades when we get back down to the lows that we just made. And then, again, there's shorts coming up quite soon if we do see a bounce from here. Which we are getting some bullish divergence on the 4-hour on ETH. We're getting some bullish divergence on the lower time frames, like the 1 hour on Bitcoin as well. So we could see a little bit of a bounce. Things look weak overall. As you say, the signs of a large. There are signs of a larger retrace. I've been talking about that. I've said it multiple times since Thursday and Friday that it would not surprise me if Bitcoin went down and tested 104k to 100k. It actually really wouldn't surprise me at all. Yeah, all longing ain't great. I'm just going to sit back and let this week unfold. That's exactly what I think as well, because to be honest, all the way throughout the whole of July and even the start of August, we're just longing the dips and making really good money. And so now I just don't want to jump back into the market too gung ho when all the data just looks like this, and it looks like we want to have just a little bit of a flush out. I expect some rough PA into next week. Hoping next week markets lows across the board. I mean, the faster we do it, the better for sure. Will laugh my ass off if rate cuts are the top of the market. I did see a chart which was like every time the rates get cut, we do see a big sell off, and then the market afterwards gets more bullish afterwards. But you know, biggest sell the news. Yeah, I mean, quite a lot of this year, the anticipation has been that we're going to get some rate cuts at some point. So maybe we've just been pricing in that whole action. I mean, we've had a lot of bullish fundamentals coming out of the basically the American government as well, which is helping us. But yeah, look at when they were cut in 2007. Biggest sell the news. I still expect we don't get rate cuts until next year. Yeah, but I mean, now we're going into the realm of prediction and if buts and maybes. Once they don't get cut, market resumed on its upward movement. It's possible. I mean, we've already cut rates a few times in the UK, so I just feel like it's only a matter of time before it does happen. I'm still in the camp that it will happen at some point this year. So maybe I'm a little bit more bearish in general. I feel like after this drop, if we really see alts go for it, like we go up to some crazy stuff, then that's going to be it. Because we haven't seen that crazy, end of alt season yet. And if Bitcoin has topped out just now after we made that new all-time high at 124k, then basically what we're due is a 2-month period of distribution price action while alts go crazy before we do the big dump and the rate cut. But again, I'm still you have to be bullish towards for the rest of the year. You kind of just have to, because what we've done on a lot of these charts is we've just done really, really bullish moves, and we're just due a nice big fat retrace. Good thing nobody globally is worried about UK rates. Well, nobody's worried about us in general. We're literally extremely insignificant at this time. If it does happen, we go to 89.96, then we might get one last tab around December. That will mark the toppy top, and we may only have a fast bear. It's basically 6 more hours to take in the rest of the rate cards. Once they're baked in, we bottom that old Great Depression session. I don't think that big depression comes yet. I mean, there's quite a lot of good data coming out of the American market at the moment, so I think they're quite. I mean, yeah, I don't. Who knows? I don't think it comes until 20, 35, 40. We've got a bit of time left, guys. And yeah, in general, like I'm still. I mean, you can't be bullish on this. You just can't. Like, I mean, ever since we did this at the start of the year, in February, we did a really big dump and accumulation phase, and we hit the lows towards the end of June, made a new high in July, did a really bullish backtest towards the end of July, which ensued this second wave move. So even if we come back down here, for example, I'm just doing it on Link, you're potentially looking to long this up. And then if you get the lower high and you don't make a new high from here, then we could talk about maybe the market rolling over. But until that happens, you just have to be bullish. And you just basically have to assume that if we do come back down to this level, that we're going to make a new high until we don't. So that's just where I'm at. I'm going to bid big if we come back down to some of these like yearly December on Link, and then even ETH, like if we come back down to 3.9 to 4k, like I'm going to bid it until we make a lower high from here. Like you just have to be bullish, and I still think maybe ETH has got some steam left in it. But yeah, again, this weekly chart doesn't fill me with a lot of hope, because we were looking at this last week before this weekly candle printed, basically just saying that we're in the big resistance, like this is the all-time high swing resistance, and so a pullback just down to here is obviously to be expected. Again, 3.9 to 4k, you're basically looking to make a new high until you don't. And if when we get the bounce from 3.9 to 4 on ETH and we don't make a new high from the one we just did, like on the daily, then I might change my tune and be like, okay, we might have actually topped. But until then, again, I'm looking at the rest of this year being bullish, especially for altcoins. I've realised I'm in doom mode this morning. Yeah, I mean, it's good to talk about these things. It's good to be aware of this stuff because, like, we don't want to be caught blindsided, and with the potential eventuality of all of this stuff, you just want to make sure that you're protected in each way. You've been locked in with our cash flow trading, Mr. Jack. No, I haven't. I literally haven't. I did a lot. I joined one of your guys' streams and I said, "Ah, that cash flow thing looks fucking sick." Um, so that's why I've added Harmony onto my chart just so I could see the cash flows because they're pretty cool, especially when I mean you can just see it on this. Let me get a vertical line. A vertical line when this printed. So basically, what you get is you get retail stablecoin demand changing direction. You get obviously the reversal signals flashing, confluence. You get the green dot on the oscillator. You get a little gain of that, and then you get the cash flow come in, and it's just like, okay, bang. It's just nice. And again, you even got the you even got the combination band as well. So yeah, there's definitely some cool stuff that I'm looking at with that sort of stuff. I mean, if you can get like, bro, if you can get support resistance, monthly level, Stuber pocket, retail stablecoin demand, cash flow, like oversold, overbought on the oscillator, if you get all of that to line up, it's pretty much got like a 90% hit rate. Like, it's very rare that the market goes against you when you get all of that sort of stuff. It's really cool. And there's definitely some opportunity to get really, really, really high conviction trades when you get all of this stuff lining up. I mean, look at this. Like, you even get that. So those two candles right there on the E4 hour, that candle right there, 3 wicks into the band, you get the change of direction on. Usually, the retail stablecoin demand changes direction right at the bottom. It's actually crazy how consistent the retail stablecoin demand is. And then you get the cash flow on here, which is a little bit late to be honest, but again, it's pretty fucking sick. I really like it a lot. I just wish we had confluence and cash flow on momentum on this bad boy. It'd be fucking sick. But yeah, I need to do some. I'm gonna do some tweaks to my charts this weekend when I'm back in UK. I might even make a new video on my strategy because there's a lot of new stuff out, new confluence, new things that just, man, I really want to be sitting at my computer like 8 to 10 hours a day at this time because the market's really, really good at the moment. Free monies. Yeah, when you get all that stuff to line up, it's free monies, bro. Must make an indicator algo that grabs those auto and automate it for trades. Be a money printer. Automate all what you just synced. The reversal, bro. So, like I just said, like if you get all of that stuff to line up, it's very, very rare that the market goes ahead of you, and you kind of need some sort of external. Like I'm not saying that the market moves because of random stuff, but more often than not, you're going to need some big like event or news thing to have the market go against you if you get all those things to line up. Because even without the cash flow and the confluence and even like a monthly or weekly level, you can get really high hit rates on just support resistance, combination band, retail stablecoin demand, and a simple oscillator on momentum. And then you just add cash flow and confluence on top, and maybe even a weekly or a daily or a monthly level, and you're just absolutely chilling. It's actually crazy. We could actually do some more testing on this. So someone give me a coin. And I know there's a lot, so let's just look at something really kind of random. Maybe Matic is a bit random. This has been doing some weird shit recently, but where's the cash flow on this? Okay, there's no cash flow on this for some reason. Let's do something else. Let's do like near maybe. Does it maybe not work on crypto cap charts? Maybe I need to go on like Binance. Let me just check the chat. AVAX is a crazy one. BNB near is a long at the moment. Yeah, near died. Like some of this stuff is really at support. Hold on. So let's do. You got the change in direction there. I mean, let's zoom in on this little bit of price action here. I mean, you didn't quite get it on the top oscillator, and you didn't quite get into the combination band, but what you did get is you got basically the change in direction there. The cash flow on the 4 hour after. The trend changed a little bit before. I mean, it's not bad. Let's check BNB. Does it not work on crypto cap charts then, by the way? The cash flow does cut. It's a little bit of a lagging indicator though. Just a tiny bit. It's more of like a confirmation. Getting double cash flow out here. Not quite. For cash flow, it's best to be on the exchange that does the most volume for that ticker. So yeah, probably Binance. You're right. AVAX is a crazy one because, for example, here you had overlapping support. So you got the change of direction there when you printed some bull div. And then you got the cash flow slightly after there. With high confluence. It's cool, man. That is cool. I mean, seeing something like that. What also those levels back down there? Those are that's a May and June level. So that's 2 monthly levels, overlapping support, bull divs, change in direction, confluence, cash flow, bottom on the retail stablecoin demand, bang, and then you get a really fucking big pumper. At least 26%, maybe even more. Definitely cool. I like it a lot. I like it to include it. in my stuff. I would like to do some more backtesting on that. CryptoCrop charts are indexes, so they don't show volume. Okay, that makes sense. I also trade off the cross of the zero, not the cash flow reversals. What do you mean by that? Like the zero line? So basically, when it crosses, so like there, slightly after. But that's a bit too late. Because this didn't cross until here. I guess you had the retest there. Hmm. You can adjust the sense on the indicator. Yeah, but that's for the whole indicator. Definitely some testing to be done there, I think. Let me stop my recording maybe now. We'll just chill for a sec.